All right. Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Want to just go around the room, introduce ourselves so we all know who is on the screen here. I'm Brandon Wright. I'm Ops Specialist for Senior Lifestyle, working here supporting the Liberty Heights team. Donna, I'll let you go next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Donna Douglas. I have been with Liberty Heights now for 7 years, and I am the moving coordinator.
Thanks, Donna. Janine.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Janine Hamilton. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing here at Liberty Heights, and I've been with the company for 13 years. So welcome.
Great. Thanks, Janine. Jacob.
Hi, I'm Jacob Martin with eXp Realty. I've been serving the Colorado Springs community for the last 8 years, and I specialize in senior real estate and downsizing.
Excellent. Thanks, Jacob. And Shaunda.
Hi, I am Shaunda Sims. I am the owner of All Things Senior Transitions, and I've worked with seniors in transitions for about 20 plus years. All Things Senior Transitions is in our 3rd year here in Colorado Springs.
Excellent. Thanks so much. So I know that Janine, Donna, and I have some questions for each Jacob and Shaunda. We'll start with Jacob at eXp Realty, and then we'll go to you, Shaunda.
Okay.
Bear with us as we're still figuring out Zoom. And if you have any questions at the end, we'll make sure we get those to you. So Janine, I want to turn it to you. I know you have some questions for Jacob.
Yes, I do. Thank you. Jacob, is this a good time to be selling my house on the market, or are seniors to be listing their house, or should we wait until it's spring or summer?
Great question. Typically, you would hear folks say that spring and summer is the ideal time to list your home. Right now, I would say that any time in this market is the correct time to list the property. We currently have record low inventory. The demand is very intense. So as a seller, you couldn't be in a better position to list the property and sell it.
Nice. Good to know. So tell me, with the pandemic going on, how are you going to market my home? Are you having people come in my home, or do you do virtual showings?
Yes, so it really depends on the individual situation. I would say 99% of the time, we're going to list the property per usual. So we would list it on the multiple listing service and all online platforms. And then buyers would schedule appointments to visit the property in person. The state, you know, as a realtor, you're licensed by the state. So there's certain guidelines that we have to follow. We're state mandated. Every agent and buyer that enters the property must wear a mask. So yeah, folks are seeing them in person. At the very beginning of COVID, when things were kind of unknown in March and April, everything was online and properties were still selling, and you know, real estate
Nice.
moving forward.
Nice. How do you come up with the listing price so it's not too low or too high?
So it all depends on that first consultation. So I like to go and visit the property in person, learn from the owner, you know, anything that I should know about the property. I take a look at it, and then I go back to my office where I compare that property to other like properties that have sold in recent times.
Okay.
Right now in this market, I'm typically looking back 2 to 3 months. And then I'm going to use those comparables to come up with a price range. And then at the end of the day, the seller and I determine the best list price to get the property sold for max amount in the shortest amount of time.
Great. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome questions, Janine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Donna, do you have any questions for Jacob?
I sure do. Jacob, what things do you suggest I do to update my home for a quicker sale?
So in this market, you know, sellers are really fortunate. You really don't have to do too much updating. Now, with that said, what I recommend is that any deferred maintenance is taken care of, like any issues, mechanical issues, roof issues, things of that nature. Even then, you know, if you price it appropriately, you don't necessarily have to take care of those items because there is such demand. And that's one of the things that I kind of help with. If money is tight, oftentimes it is in a moving transition, I can come in and I can cover up to $2,500 of those repair or maintenance costs.
Oh, nice.
And then the seller just reimburses me at closing via their proceeds.
Okay, that's good to know.
Really good.
Okay, will I be working with just you? Or will there be a team of agents to help with showings and open houses?
So I'm the primary point of contact. I do have an assistant, and I also have a transaction coordinator that helps with the process once we're under contract. That's just to help me on the administrative side. I work along with my brother, who is also a real estate agent. And in the event that I'm out of town, or, for instance, I broke some ribs last summer, and I wasn't really operational for a week or two. And in that situation, he kind of steps in and helps me out. But for the most part, I am the primary point of contact.
Okay, that's nice that it's a little bit of a family business.
Yeah.
Approximately how much will selling my home cost me? For example, broker commissions, closing fees, those kinds of things.
Great question. So with the sale in terms of commission, I charge anywhere from 6% to 7%, depending on the scenario. And then there's a $495 real estate broker admin fee that's paid out at closing. All of those fees are taken care of at closing. You owe me nothing prior to. And other expenses that you could expect would be taking care of the property tax, right? So in Colorado, we pay our property taxes in arrears. So at closing, the title company would basically, from your proceeds, keep whatever portion that you owe for that particular year for property taxes. And then let's see, title insurance. So as a seller in Colorado, you're responsible for providing title insurance to the buyer. And that's, depending on the cost of the house, that could be anywhere from, say, $1,200 to $2,500. One of the nice things upon that second meeting, when I'm able to determine what the estimated value of the property is, I can do what's called an estimated seller net sheet, which basically gives you an entire breakdown of any and all of the costs associated with the sale, so that you have a very clear picture of what you could expect to walk away with at closing.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Awesome. Good questions. Thanks. Jacob, I just have a couple more to follow up. And I know you talked about this a few minutes ago in regards to deferred maintenance. So how else do you help get houses ready to sell? I know that you have a little bit of financial piece that you can help with, but any other ways you help yourself for home repairs, referrals to individuals, roofers, et cetera?
Absolutely. So being in the business for 8 years, I've definitely accumulated a lot of great vendors that I work with. So pretty much anything and everything that you could want, I can provide you with a professional that can help with that. On the front end, when I do list the property, I pay for a cleaning, right? So I can either pay to have that property cleaned prior to listing, or I can pay for what's called a move-out cleaning right before you close. That just kind of takes some burden off the seller's shoulders. And then I always provide a staging consult. So if the property is being lived in, I will pay for my stager to come to the property and help the seller and their family kind of get the property ready to market.
That's great.
If the property is vacant, I will do what's called light staging. So just bring in some decor to help, provide some color and make the property pop. And then I always do professional high definition photography with all of the listings.
Awesome. Thank you. I actually wrote down here staging. So thanks for covering that.
Absolutely.
The last one, and you talked about it a little bit, but how do you actually market the house? So you mentioned you list it, and then there's realtor magazines that some folks have. Some people have them on their coffee table, professional viewing showings, newspaper, et cetera. What means do you use?
Yeah, so wonderful question. We're finding, especially in 2020, that having the property exposed to every possible platform online is really the way to go. That's where you get the best exposure for your marketing dollar, or for my marketing dollar. So ultimately, the majority of the buyers are coming straight from the Pikes Peak multiple listing service. In 2020, most buyers know that they can go directly to a real estate agent, and that real estate agent will help them find a home. And then obviously we use other third-party websites such as Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com. And then lastly, we're really big into social media. So exposing the property on the different social media platforms. And those three really bring in the majority of the buyers.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's a lot of information. Was there something that you feel that we might not have asked that you want to make sure the viewers are aware of?
I would say timing, right? Timing is very important, especially when you're doing a major transition to a new space. Even if you're not planning on selling for, a year or so, it definitely helps to go ahead and establish contact with a professional real estate agent. And they can come in and kind of give you an idea of what to expect. And then you can put a plan in place, even if it's 6 months or 12 months down the road. Just kind of, planning properly and getting the jump start on everything will definitely help ease the burden of a transition like this.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I am preparing to move on the other side of the coast, so I'm definitely taking some notes. I appreciate this.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Well, I know we have some questions for Shaunda. We're going to ask her some questions, and then we'll come back to you at the end if you have anything else you want to chime in with, Jacob.
Wonderful.
Janine, I'm going to turn it to you for some initial questions for Shaunda.
Excellent, excellent. Welcome, Shaunda.
Hi, Janine.
I just have a quick question to begin with. Do our listeners get charged for an estimate for you to come and give a quote to us?
No, ma'am. All consultations are absolutely free. Yes.
Good to hear. How do you get paid? Do you charge by the hour or by the job?
I do project pricing, so by the job. And that price is dependent upon the scope of the job, the volume of what we're dealing with, and that all comes to fruition after the consultation.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the questions I have. I'll turn it over to Donna.
Okay.
Hi, Shaunda.
Hello.
Hi, does your company pack and unpack all of my items?
So that is a good question. I leave the pack job up to the moving company that we partner with. And so you have teams to help with the actual physical moving of stuff and packing. When it comes to the one step before that, when we're working on downsizing, that's a one-on-one thing between me and my client. And then when it comes to setting up the new home, I do have an assistant, sometimes two if needed, to bring in to help me with that new home setup. But pretty much the only time you're going to see teams of people is on that pack day and that move day.
Okay. Now, when you're doing that home setup, does that include like hanging pictures or hanging like a flat screen television?
I'll do pictures. We'll do pictures and decor. Anything that is drilling into the walls, anything like that. I usually work with the maintenance departments at the communities, put in work orders. And sometimes, if we have enough notice and time, we can get the TV hung up the day before the move, prior to the move. So we put everything away and do all that, but any drills or holes going into the walls, I leave that to maintenance.
Okay. Approximately how long does an average move take?
Well, that's a good question. When you refer to the move, I say that I have a 3-day process, a pack day, a move day, and the new home setup. Sometimes that's only 2 days. So that's just a 3-day process. Now that's when we've worked weeks, months. I have had a couple that it's been a year prior to prepare for that move day. So there's, it's kind of broken down into manageable pieces.
Okay. And another important question for seniors would be, what kind of liability do you have for their items and things like that?
Right. Again, so I have general liability and the workers' comp under my All Things Senior Transitions. And then I partner with the moving companies and that do the moving and packing. So they have their own insurance coverage, and your items would fall under that in transit. But I do have general liability so that when we're working in your home or your new space or whatever, we are covered under that.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Great, thanks, Donna.
Uh-huh.
So Shaunda, when you are, it's maybe you have a special type of vision. When you see the space that I am moving to, or my loved one might be moving to versus the space they're currently in, how do you figure out what's going to go where, what might fit and what really won't fit?
Gotcha. So a lot of that does come with experience of just knowing, a lot of the senior retirement, it's a transitional life. It's a transition to a different lifestyle, right?
Mhm.
So I do have a good visual of, oh, they're going into a 2-bedroom apartment, or, oh, they have a 460 square foot studio, and I just kind of work with them through that. If there's a day that I need to take some measurements of furniture and go out to, come out to Liberty Heights, lay it out in painter's tape, if that's necessary, whatever makes them feel at ease with the decisions they're making. And we try to, those months I was talking about, move prep, these are the kind of things we're doing prior to the week before the move. All this stuff will be done before then, so you can actually focus on the move.
Sure. And I think it should go without saying, we possibly should have started this, that moving is stressful. So having folks who are well experienced like you and Jacob definitely are a perk to help this be a less stressful experience. So
that's the biggest thing, Brandon, is how can we get in front of these people sooner than a month before they're ready to move, because we can make it possible and make it more manageable if we can get in sooner. Yes.
Sure. I just have a couple more questions for you, Shaunda. So oftentimes individuals, when they're moving from a larger place or have been there for a long time, they have a lot of items that possibly need like organized or even maybe a declutter concept. What do you do in regards to that?
So that's the downsize coaching that I would do with them prior to. And we are going, room by room, we are picking the most important items that are going to point B, to your new destination, your new home. And I work with I have a couple of vendors in estate sales, in online auctions, Platt Furnitures, Take a Peek Consignment. So there's a couple of places that I partner with. And then you will have a liquidation plan in place prior to the move. So that the whole time you're moving, you're not going, well, what's happening with that? And what's happening with that? We have all of those details lined out. So
that's great that you have that experience.
It's the hardest part of the entire thing is getting the liquidation in place. So I beg everyone to please start early. So
my last question, and it could be applicable for you too, Jacob. So you've been here at Liberty Heights before. How best can we at Liberty Heights align with you both to ensure that a move goes smoothly and the least amount of stress possible for our resident?
Is that for either of us, you said?
Go ahead, you're on. I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking, like you kind of mentioned earlier, it's getting us in front of the people. It's all about education. We all want to make the best informed decision when we have all of these life-changing, final decisions to make. So the sooner we can get in, if someone comes in for a tour, even if like they're just saying, hey, I'm not making this move for a year. Great. I would love for you still to talk with Shaunda because she can educate you about what to expect in this kind of transition,
Sure.
Yeah.
How about for you, Jacob?
Yeah, I'd like to add to that. So we've experienced it multiple times over the last few years where someone was kind of on the fence, they really liked the community that they were going to. And then, like all of us, they go back home and the sense of overwhelm hits them. And it becomes almost impossible for them to make a decision because they're wondering, well, how am I going to do this? Who is going to help me? And those instances when they have been open to a consult with Shaunda and I, we're able to go in and explain to them our process and just how easy it can be. And we've seen it kind of open their eyes to, oh, wow, this is definitely achievable, if I align with, the right people. And I can get to where I actually want to be, and it can be, little to no stress.
Great, thank you, because little to no stress is definitely where it needs to be.
Thing.
Shaunda, was there anything else that we didn't ask that you wanted to share with viewers?
I don't have anything off the top of my head because my head is just full of so much. I mean, like I was telling someone yesterday, there's just so much information because it's such a big job and it's such a big transition. So if you can work with us to let us in and we can help you do it in manageable pieces, because what we want is, of course, we want to help people. We're in it for business and that kind of thing. But most importantly, as a gerontologist, I want a healthy transition for these clients, and that's only going to come in manageable pieces, one day at a time, that kind of thing. So,
Sure.
yeah, we're
Well,
here.
thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Janine or Donna, do you have any questions or follow-ups?
No, that was very thorough. Thank you both.
Yes, thank you for having
Absolutely, our pleasure.
Yes, thank you guys very much. We look forward to working with you and aligning to better serve our community.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you all.
everybody.
All
Thank
right.
you.